And welcome into Mountaineer Playbook, your home for the best stories in West Virginia University sports. I'm Luke Wiggs alongside the legend, Daniel Woods. For the first time in over 2 decades, there will be a new face patrolling the sidelines for the WVU women's basketball team.
That's right, Luke. And while a short but memorable Mountaineer men's basketball career comes to an end, another is getting ready to start on the gridiron. That and more coming up next on Mountaineer Playbook.
After a storied career leading the West Virginia University women's basketball program, Mike Carey has retired after 21 years at the helm.
And despite a sudden end to his career, Coach Carey will be remembered for 2 decades of the most consistent success the Mountaineer ladies have seen on the court in school history. Rachel Davis took a look at Carey's tenure and what's next for WVU.
Daniel, you think about the Bill Fisks and Kitty Blakemores that helped establish this program. It's people like Mike Carey that deserve much credit to getting to this program to where it is today, and we certainly wish him the best.
There's no doubt that Mike Carey has put enough time and effort into West Virginia women's basketball over the years to have earned himself a nice retirement. Director of Athletics Shane Lyons has already appointed Nitra Perry, who's been with the program as an assistant coach for the past 2 seasons, as interim head coach for the time being.
In what was a somewhat underwhelming season for WVU hoops, a few players became a bright spot as the season went on. Transfer Malik Curry came alive in the second half of last season and became a scorer the Mountaineers could rely on. Our own Corey Jackson has more on the transfer.
Meanwhile, baseball season is in full swing for the Mountaineers, and things are certainly heating up at the Diamond. Nicole Harrisek is here with another Mountaineer Playbook Play of the Week. Nicole?
Thank you, guys, and welcome back to another Mountaineer Play of the Week segment, where we highlight the best moments in WVU sports. On last week's episode, Frank McConnell co-hosted our Play of the Week segment with an incredible stolen base performance from Tevin Tucker on the WVU baseball team. We searched WVU athletics. We searched through ESPN+. There were a bunch of great plays this week in WVU sports, but one really stole the show. That was Austin Davis's walk-off single in the 9th inning, which gave the Mountaineers a 7-6 win over the Ohio State Buckeyes, splitting the game series. Davis went 2 for 5 and scored a run, registering the game-winning run batted in Game 2. Austin Davis is having a great season so far as the senior on the team with 4 runs batted in. Well, we'll be back for another Mountaineer Play of the Week next time. For now, we'll send it back to Daniel and Luke. Guys?
Welcome back to Mountaineer Playbook. There's been a number of great performances recently in the old gold and blue, but there can only be one Mountaineer Playbook Student Athlete of the Week.
You're right, Luke, and for this one, we're going to head to the mat as Sophia Pisano joins us from Studio B to tell us which athlete stood apart this week. Sophia?
Thanks, Daniel. Luke, our Player of the Week this week has made history, being the 3rd ever Mountaineer to win Big 12s for his sport. But he isn't celebrating quite yet. I spent some time mat-side with wrestler Killian Cardinale to find out why he has such a unique outlook on this accomplishment. After winning 2 rounds, Cardinale fell to Arizona State's Brandon Courtney at Nationals. The gold might be out of reach, but now he has his eyes set on a podium finish and will take on Brody Teske and Patrick McKee in wrestlebacks. Back to you guys at the Waterfront Studio.
It was a solid showing for both him and WVU wrestling at the NCAAs. With a quarterfinal appearance in Detroit, Cardinale joined Peyton Hall among the nation's elite, with Hall earning All-American status with an 8th place finish at 165 pounds.
Moving from the mat to the field, the West Virginia football team has seen a lot of turnover in the last 3 years since Neil Brown has taken over for Dana Holgerson. One of the newest faces on the gridiron is junior college transfer Lee Koba. With a fiery personality and motivation to lead, he's brought a new mentality to the roster for the Mountaineers. Lee Koba certainly isn't the guy I want to see as a running back running through the C-gap. I saw what he did to that tire. No thank you.
Absolutely right. Watching some of those clips of him making tackles, it's like watching a sea monster swallow a ship whole. Nonetheless, that's going to do it for this week's edition of Mountaineer Playbook. That's all the time we have. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.
And welcome into Mountaineer Playbook. Over the next 15 minutes or so, we'll get you caught up to date with what's going on across the wide world of Mountaineer sports. I'm Luke Wiggs, and to my right is the Kurt Rambis of Trinity High School Athletics, Daniel Woods.
I'll get you for that. After years of work, endless pleas from Mountaineer fans, and almost as many comments from announcers as there were about Deuce McBride playing quarterback in high school, WVU men's basketball coach Bob Huggins has finally been inducted into the Naismith Hall of Fame. Connor Taylor took a look inside the journey that has brought him this far. In the words of the man himself, how about that? Well, we all know there's one thing that Bob Huggins wants more than anything before he hangs it up. That's a national championship. I do think that a Hall of Fame honor should be enough to keep the man happy, at least until the first missed shot of next season.
Happy is certainly the word that comes to mind when I think of Bob Huggins. But in stark contrast to the long tenure that Bob Huggins has had, a new coach has emerged to take the reins of the West Virginia women's basketball program. Rachel Davis has the details on who'll be patrolling the sidelines for the Gold and Blue next year. Quick, Daniel, spell Plitzowite.
You didn't think I'd be prepared for this. P-L-I-T-Z-U-W-E-I-T, Plitzowite. If you're going to come at the 2013 Monongalia County Spelling Bee champion, you had better come with a challenge.
You know, that's a Mickey Mouse title, if you ask me.
You've got to be joking. Look, if you did your homework, you would know that in the greater Morgantown spelling community, I'm what's known as the best there is, the best there was, and the best there ever will be. Speaking of the best, we've got the best play in Mountaineer sports this week, as Nicole Hirasek is here with the latest edition of the Mountaineer Playbook Play of the Week. Nicole?
Thank you, guys, and welcome back to the last Mountaineer Play of the Week segment, where we highlight the best moments in WVU sports. On last week's episode, we highlighted Austin Davis's walk-off single in the 9th inning. The baseball team caught our eye this week as they stole home base at their first Big 12 conference matchup. TCU pitch. Ben Abernathy steals home to tie the game. The pitch was overthrown to the plate. Coming from second base, Braden Berry completes the double steal as he slides into home. That incredible play gave the Mountaineers a 3-2 lead in the top of the 9th inning. In the bottom of the 9th inning, redshirt pitcher Noah Short slammed the doors on TCU, striking out the last batter to end the game. The Mountaineers went on to claim 2 out of the 3 against the 12th-ranked TCU and are currently 16-10 in their season. Their next home game will be today at 3 against Marshall. You don't want to miss the Maisie Ball action. That's it for the Mountaineer Play of the Week segment. For now, we'll send it back to Daniel and Luke. Guys?
Now that's a perfect example of Maisie Ball. WVU wins a series in Fort Worth for the first time in program history. This team is remarkably fun to watch. You blink, you might miss something, and I'm telling you, the comparisons with the 1982 world champion St. Louis Cardinals are real.
Now, Luke, before you start yelling at me about Joaquin Andahar, I am going to have to say that if we're talking world champions, I'm going to have to look at a bunch of guys that played at Three Rivers Stadium in Pittsburgh back in 1979. Some have called them a family. But we could do this and go back and forth about our favorite champions all day. But what we really should do is give ourselves, and more importantly, the folks at home, a break. There's plenty more coming up right after this.
The WVU competitive cheer team is competing at nationals for the first time in 2 years. I'm Sophia Pisano, and straight ahead on Mountaineer Playbook, I'll introduce you to our next athlete of the week who's been waiting for this opportunity.
They say the grass is greener on the other side. For Max Green, that certainly holds true, as he became the 3rd winner in WVU golf history. More coming up soon on Mountaineer Playbook.
Welcome back to Mountaineer Playbook. There's much more on the way when it comes to the best stories in WVU sports. Now it's time for the Mountaineer Playbook Player of the Week. And with cheerleading taking center stage this week, I'll turn it over to the man with the best twisting back handspring in Morgantown, Luke Wiggs.
Well, Daniel, as the son of the greatest cheerleader in the history of West Preston High School, shout out Laura Wiggs, by the way, I would be remiss if we didn't give West Virginia's competitive cheer squad their due coverage. Now for the Player of the Week with Sophia Pisano. Sophia.
Thanks, Luke. Daniel, cheerleading teams often spend their time on the sidelines of other sports. But one squad at WVU is about to take center stage. I spent some time with the WVU competitive cheerleading team as they prepared to compete at NCAA Nationals this weekend. Our next athlete of the week is cheerleader Hannah Lehman. She is the only veteran competing this year, and she's leading her team by example.
Thanks, Sophia. Luke, given your bloodlines and how deep they run in the annals of Preston County cheerleading, I think this is your opportunity to show the competitive cheer team what you've got. This is your tryout. For myself and for the people at home, show us your backflip right now.
Now, Daniel, I may appear to the folks at home to be the picture of peak athleticism, but I don't necessarily think that's something in my wheelhouse. And I'm hearing from our producer, Sarah, we also don't have the insurance, so I'm going to have to pass.
That's a terrible tragedy. But if we have to move on from the mat to the green, this is a good one. It hasn't been long since the WVU golf program was restarted, but it's already produced several standout performers. Frank McConnell has more on a new face that's quickly taking the links by storm. Well, Luke, with a performance like that, Max Green may have a chance to earn himself a membership at the prestigious Bushwood Country Club. Let's just hope that when he envisions himself winning the Masters one day, that he stays out of the flowers.
It's in the hole. Well, Daniel, that's it. We're out of time for this one, but I'd like to remind our audience before we go, we've got a special 30-minute edition of Mountaineer Playbook coming up your way 2 weeks from now, and you don't want to miss it.
You mean to tell me that the people at home get to see the two of us for twice as long next time? I suggest that you wear your Sunday best, except for that hat. As a friend, that hat is terrible. We've got 2 weeks to make our wardrobe decisions, and for your sake, we'll get to those off the air. Thanks for tuning in to this week's edition of Mountaineer Playbook. We'll see you next time.